Hello and welcome to the TMZ Podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton.
I'm Derek Kaufman.
And today...
Oh, I jumped you a little bit.
I like that.
Because I knew you were going to call me Lothario Lawyer, and it's too actually serious and somber a time for that. I would like to be called Derek today.
Okay. Derek.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can add some levity here, but obviously what this city is going through is devastating. So there will be a little bit of a somber tone here at the top.
So we'll go through some updates about what's happening over here in LA, particularly with celebrities in their homes, as we are a celebrity-based website. We'll talk about the Carter funeral. Jimmy Carter, his funeral's on right now as we speak, and it's very interesting to watch all the former and future presidents mingling awkwardly, trying to make small talk.
We got to talk about body language when we see some of these pictures. It's incredible.
And finally, one of the hottest women on the planet for many years now is single.
One of the legends.
One of the legends is single. And we'll tell you who right there at the end. To begin with, though, please leave your comments. We're live on YouTube. Any comments you got to make, serious or unserious, we'll read them out here at the end.
Yep.
But let's get into our story about these LA fires that continue to tear through celebrity homes. Okay, let me give you a list of some of the celebrities we know to have lost their homes.
Yeah, and as you said, we're doing this in real time. This devastating sort of tragedy is ongoing.
Yes.
You know, the city is an absolute mess. No one's spared. I mean, we're obviously going to talk about some of the impact on celebrity homes, but the devastation, if you've seen that time-lapse video, have you seen that?
Yeah.
Where the way these fires just swept over dense population zones. You know, before we get into, like, you and I have lived here for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you had fires in Australia even before this, and you're familiar with them. But I always thought, I'm a transplant. I always thought the risk, the natural disaster you have to deal with in California is Earthquakes. That's what you think of when you move here is, how am I going to deal with earthquakes? The buildings are on rollers. There's a lot of preparation. They build in a certain way. Fires seemed like a remote abstraction in some ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they happen, they sweep through woody, dry areas because of our climate here, but you never think of them coming into population zones because you think, what are they going to burn? The roads? I mean, there's just buildings here. There's no fuel. It's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, these Santa Ana winds just threw these embers over the city so quickly, and everything's combustible. We build homes out of sticks still.
So Billy Crystal's lost his home, Eugene Levy, John Goodman, Fergie, Adam Brody, Anna Faris, Spencer Pratt, Anthony Hopkins, Miles Teller, Paris Hilton, Ricky Lake, Mark Hamill, Matthew Perry's house.
Yeah, you have to understand that the way this city is structured, the Palisades, the Pacific Palisades, is one of the wealthiest parts of this city.
Yeah.
And so it is filled with celebrities because it's situated above Malibu, right? So it's like you get these beautiful views of the beach. It's very affluent. The houses are multiple millions of dollars. And if you see some of these pictures on the news, it's been leveled.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a war zone. It looks like post 9/11 or something there. And these communities are so filled with celebrities, but also just filled with like very family-oriented people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in the Palisades. It's like young families. It's very wholesome, and it is heartbreaking because they're all posting on social media and so forth that they have no community to go back to. It is truly leveled, and it's a very sad thing.
It's not just the Palisades as well. Like it is Malibu. It's Altadena. It's Hollywood Hills last night was on fire. Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
And these fires are burning to the water, to the sea.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because the winds we've had are so bad and the fires are so big. They can't contain these fires. There's not enough water. So everyone's just battling and not sure what to do.
Yeah, we're starting to already see some scapegoating. You know, Karen Bass is the mayor of the city. She wasn't in town when this started. She was on a pre-planned trip. She wouldn't have known. And everyone's saying, you focus so much on homelessness, you didn't address fire preparedness. And there is some truth to, like, there are priorities, but the scale of this, natural disaster is so big that a few $1 million in the fire budget, you're still battling something that is massive. And it's hard to imagine how that would have changed things. I understand that people are going to want fall guys, are going to want to say we should have been more prepared, look at people dumping bags of water rather than fire hoses. I understand it. Yeah. I understand it, but it is just, it's more massive than people can really wrap their heads around.
Another person kind of getting skewered this morning is David Muir.
Yeah.
David Muir, ABC news correspondent. He's live from the fires, and he's wearing a fireman's jacket, and he turns around, and you see that there's like a peg, a clothesline peg at the back to make him look kind of buffer and a better body. Like, he didn't want the saggy fireman's outfit on him. So he made some adjustments at the back, and viewers caught a glimpse of them. And now he is being trolled for trying to look his best while LA burns down.
He's being skewered for basically this being a very LA moment where vanity trumps sort of your concern for the burning city. Now, I don't know. We haven't heard from him. He is a good-looking guy. He's very fit. He is sort of known as one of those sort of trim guys, and he maybe didn't want to wear the baggy thing. I've also heard that sometimes you want to pull that back because the wind can hit your outfit and interfere with the microphone. I've heard
that up. You're setting that excuse up for
I've
him.
heard it. You know, he's going to have to sort of answer to this. This is just the way social media works. They've called him out. They said this is the most LA thing I've seen. Other than, have you seen the picture of people taking selfies in front of the fire? That's also a very LA moment. That's the thing that
annoys me the most. Actually, you know what annoys me the most? And I don't mean to kick someone when they're down, but Spencer Pratt. Him and his family lost their home, lost everything.
Devastating.
Which is tragic. But ever since, he has spent the whole time on Instagram Live begging for more followers. Asking, saying, you should tell your friends to follow me. I'm trying to get to this figure. And it's just like, that is just like an example of what a lot of people I feel are doing online, which is trying to sort of get as close to the tragedy as possible. And
although, look, he's grieving. The loss of your home and all of your worldly possessions is a devastating moment. I want to give him a little bit of grace, obviously, because they're going through a lot right now. But it impacts people all differently. There's some LA moments of this, the David Muir, the clothespin, and so forth. But it truly is like, how do you wrestle with it? A lot of people are saying, like, do I laugh at the absurdity of this? It's not obviously laugh worthy, but no one knows how to deal with the emotion of like what's happening, right? Even after 9/11, it was just, you were dumbstruck. That's the only thing I can sort of compare to the feeling of just like, holy cow, we hit a hard reset on Los Angeles.
But if it was TikTok was around when 9/11 happened, there'd be knuckleheads.
They're absolutely
like doing selfie things, trying to get clout off tragedies. I just hate that aspect of it all. And we live in LA, so there's a fair bit of that.
Yeah, and this is still unfolding, and we are in the middle of it. So we'll see.
Okay, let's get to our next story. The Jimmy Carter funeral is happening as we speak, and every alive president comes along and, you know, gives their thanks and sends him off. So we saw Barack Obama, Trump himself. We saw Joe Biden. Kamala Harris was there.
Clintons are there.
The Clintons are there. It was kind of very frosty when they all sort of like came into the same area. But I feel like Obama and Donald Trump kind of were bros.
Well, yeah, this is a very purposeful moment. Every time in American history, the living presidents assemble. They're part of a fraternity in this country. We've never had a woman president, but there's a special bond even across the aisle of living presidents. That's always how it's been. When Richard Nixon died, I observed it in 1994. Gerald Ford died. This happens, and all the living ones assemble.
Yeah.
And they purposefully sit next to each other across, you know, Democrats sit next to Republicans. And I think it's to project and symbolize that we're a country that can look past our political differences in these momentous moments. Obviously, we're living through one in LA. 9/11 was another one where we all held hands. And the passing of Jimmy Carter, you see Obama sitting next to Trump. We're in polarizing times beyond any polarization I think we've ever seen in my lifetime. And you see Trump sort of chewing Obama's ear. And the things that he said were so nasty about Obama that it's hard to imagine they can really sort of have a civil conversation. But it looks pretty civil.
It looks pretty civil.
The one that is the weirdest interaction, though, is Donald Trump shaking the hand of his former vice president, Mike Pence.
True.
Who, you know, Mike Pence, you remember the hordes of people were wanting to sort of kill Mike Pence, maybe. At least that's the thought of a lot of people, and that Donald Trump didn't really call off the dogs. So how does that interaction go? Because that's not even across the aisle. But Mike Pence handled it with aplomb. He sort of like looked him in the eye, and they had maybe a frosty exchange. But that one was beyond politics, right? That was like, oh, man, you don't want my safety?
They're all in their best behavior at times like this, though. But interesting to see. Let's get on with our last story. Jessica Alba has separated with her longtime husband, Cash Warren. They're heading for divorce. These guys were together for nearly 17 years. They've got kids together. This was one of those couples that no one would even think might break up. Like, he was kind of a bit of a normie. I know he's a successful guy, but he's not like a celebrity.
He was a director's assistant on a movie back in the Fantastic Four movie that she was the star of. She was one of the stars of like a superhero movie back in the day, and he landed a star while he was an assistant to the
Incredible.
director. Yeah.
Well, now they're heading for divorce. Unclear as to why, but she's been spotted out without her ring on recently, including they took their kid to Universal Studios. I think it was just over the weekend, and there's lots of family photos. So despite the fact that they're separating, clearly it is amicable.
It seems amicable. I mean, they have 3 kids. They got a 16-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 7-year-old. They're in the midst of like raising children and sort of at the mode where some of them are in high school and you're trying to get them out of the house and so forth. So it's a delicate time to have a separation. It seems like they're trying to manage it, because these kids aren't so young that you can be acrimonious and they won't know what's going on. True. These kids know what's going on in their household. So maybe they're trying to sort of keep it as amicable as possible. But look, whenever people say it's an amicable divorce, I always say, well, then why are you getting divorced? It's not that amicable. There's something like really profound that happens in a marriage
that you're digging
to get divorced, because you and I are married. If it were amicable, you stay married. I mean, you have some real nasty
amicable
fights.
Is a nice marriage, actually. You can have an amicable divorce. An amicable marriage is pretty good.
Isn't that right? Yeah. Someone's like, oh, this split is so nice, and they put out a nice statement. There's something so negative that you're ending a bond of 17 years. Right. So I always roll my eyes a little bit when I hear it's amicable. I think it's manageable or something. Like they're trying to manage it for children or for themselves. But something bad happened. And maybe we'll learn more about it, or maybe they're very private. She's kind of a mogul now,
Yeah, with the Honest Company. Yeah, we use that. We use Honest nappies, diapers at home, and we don't know about boxes.
We don't know about a prenup, right?
True.
I mean, so cash could fall into some cash, right? I mean, this is possible.
Let's read out some of your comments now. On the Los Angeles fires, Margaret says, it's terrible. There's no preparation for these fires that have happened continuously. Yeah, I mean, we had a Malibu fire a few years back. That was pretty bad, and now we've got another one here now. MM said, I didn't know if you would be in today. Is it safe to drive into work for everyone?
It depends on the part of the city. Yeah, it's we got in. The traffic is different than it usually is in certain areas, but we were able to get in safely.
Happy says, I feel bad for those who can't come back from this destruction. I mean, that's what you feel bad about. People who bought their dream home. That's where all their money's in, and now it's burnt down. I mean,
you're going to see these conversations, though. After, remember Hurricane Katrina? Everyone's like, should we rebuild in these areas where hurricanes can devastate? Should we rebuild the Palisades if fires are a risk there? People will have these conversations. They will rebuild it. It's a beautiful area.
Miss Courtney Renee is just celebrating Jimmy Carter, saying he was a great man. Monkey Man says on the Jessica Alba divorce, why do celebrities even get married if divorce comes so quick?
I don't know about so quick here. I mean, 17 years is a pretty successful marriage. As Harvey likes to say, if you made it 17 years, do you call that a failure? This isn't a quickie marriage.
No, it's not. I mean, it's one of those things that I think you call a successful marriage, even though it ended. You plan for death do us part, but 17 years, it's not too bad.
Good college try, right?
I could see her with Tom Brady now.
Oh, what an interesting... I could too. That's a good pick. He's the most eligible bachelor. She is gorgeous, but also age appropriate for him.
Yes. They both got kids.
I kind of like that.
Like that?
He likes models. And she's not a model. She's a movie star, but she's pretty close to model.
Yeah. Okay, well, called it here first.
There you go.
Finally, Beezy Lego is enjoying...
Go ahead and read that one out loud. Read it entirely.
I don't mind a break from Charlie for some Derek.
Oh, they're talking about Neff.
They're talking about my former and probably future tomorrow podcast host. Yeah, they like you instead of Charlie.
Well, listen, I'm happy to fill in, but Charlie is so good at this, I wouldn't take it away.
Could you please...
And plus, I get very annoying over time as well.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Trust me. Could you please do Charlie's accent just to sign us out here?
Thanks for having me.
That's good.
Pretty good.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining. That is, now I'm Southern or something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Derek, for joining me today.
Everyone in the city, stay safe.
Stay safe, everybody out there. And we'll see you guys all here tomorrow. Goodbye.